Friends, this morning we are going to cover callback functions in JavaScript. If you haven't heard of callback functions, you've probably still at least seen them, even if you didn't know. If you've been writing JavaScript for any amount of time, you've most likely encountered some callback functions, even if you didn't know that is what you were writing or looking at. Anyway, the first 3 lines here I have are just some things we're going to need for this demo. So I've got fetch here. I'm in a node environment here on REPL, and so fetch is not just there like it is in the browser, like window.fetch. So in order to make an API request or something like that, I'm using a package called isomorphic fetch. So no big deal there. It works just like regular old browser fetch. Then I've got an array of exercises, and so we've got bench press, squat, and deadlift. I miss bench press a lot. I haven't been able to bench in quarantine. Anyway, that's a different topic. Okay, and then we've got an API URL, and all this is a little placeholder thing. You've probably seen this in lots of tutorials if you've watched a lot of tutorials. It's just going to give us back a little JSON blob of a fake post. I can actually hit it in the browser real quick, and you can see it's just an object with some data. We don't really care what the data is for this video. We just want to hit an API as an example. All right, so I guess first off, just definitions, and then we'll get into actually coding, because I learn best by coding, and hopefully if you're watching this, maybe you do too, and that'll make more sense than just me rambling on. But very quick definition: a callback function is a function that you pass into another function that function will execute at some point. And that's the most basic definition I can give. And this is a pretty common practice in JavaScript, because JavaScript is asynchronous. And so JavaScript can only do its own one thread. It can only do one thing at a time. And I probably got some other videos that I've been thinking about doing in the future on like event loop and how asynchronous stuff works more in depth in JavaScript. But for this video, just focusing on callbacks, you're going to see callbacks a lot in JavaScript because JavaScript is asynchronous. All right, let's start off with, I don't know, what do we want to start with? Yes, I have my little cheating notes over here. I'm like, I don't know which one to do first. We're just going to start off with a simple map. All right, so we've got exercises. I'm going to assume a little bit of knowledge here that you've seen like an array.map or something before. If you haven't, that's fine. You kind of learned that too, but that's not really the focus of this video. So what we're going to do here is, let's say I want to, I want a new array that is all of my exercises, but it is each index will be, instead of a string of bench press, I want an object that has a key of name, and then the value would be bench press. And then maybe I'm going to like change some stuff onto that, or throw some other stuff in, whatever. If I wanted to do that, we have we could say exercise objects equals exercises.map. Okay, and so map will take a callback function. You can actually see it right there in the what is this called, IntelliSense or something, or just hints? I don't know. Is it IntelliSense only if it's in VS Code? I don't know. Okay, so it takes a callback function, and this callback function, so array.map actually will execute this callback function for each item in the array that you called .map on, and it will pass, among other arguments, it will pass, you'll see right here, the value as the argument to that callback function. Sorry, wow. Okay, so this .map is going to receive, each time it's called, it's going to receive an exercise. So it's going to receive bench press on the first one, then it's going to call it again with squat, call it again with deadlift. So it's going to receive an exercise. We can just do an arrow function here. And what we want to return is, we want to do an object, and we want it to have a name key. We just want the value to be exercise. And then we need to wrap this in parentheses, because we want this to be interpreted as an actual expression, like send back an actual object. Otherwise, it'll think that this is just a beginning of a function body. So we want this to be an expression, so we've got it wrapped in parentheses here. All right, now if I do this and I console.log exercise objects, all right, now I've got name bench, name squat, name deadlift. All right, cool. So we just wrote a callback function. Like this is a callback function. Now, you might say, well, you know, what if I want to just store this away because I do this often? Like, what if I don't want to just write this over and over again? And this might not be a great example for that, but we could do that. So you don't have to pass an inline function to map or to for each or to reduce or filter or whatever. You don't have to pass an inline function. You can specify a function out here like you know, exercise to object, and it's going to take an exercise and it's going to return name exercise as an object literal, and then we can just pass a reference to that function here. Exercise to object, right? If we run this, it's going to be the same thing. Cool. So that is one example of callback. We can do this with other things. It doesn't have to be maps. It can be, like I said, for each. Like we could do a, let's see. We'll leave that. We'll leave that in there. We'll skip on down. We'll do, yeah. Let's do something like this. So what if we wanted to shout something? So I want a shout function that takes a string and returns string.toUppercase. Okay, and we could have a shout all or shout group, shout collection, whatever you want, some sort of iterable shout all function that takes we could just call this data, or we can call this a group, whatever it might be. And then inside this, we could say group.forEach, and we could pass it shout, right? So, and we can actually probably want to, for our purposes, we will console log this. Okay, so we're going to console log the string.toUppercase. Okay, so what's happening here is if I call shout all and I call it with exercises, okay, I'm going to pass this array into shout all. Shout all is going to receive it, and then it's going to say exercises, basically, dot for each. It's going to call the shout function with each of the exercises. And so this is going to get bench press, and it's going to console log bench press and all caps. Oh my gosh. Okay, and then squat and deadlift. So run this, and there we go. Cool. So that's another example of callbacks. Like we've got a function here, and then we've got we're passing it here as a callback. Now you don't have to go just one level deep here. Like you can kind of pass callbacks to callbacks. So what if we wanted to do like a set timeout? Okay, the set timeout first argument is a callback. Let me see. Does it actually give you some hints here? I don't know how I got these hints. Whatever. Okay. First argument is a callback. So let's say I want it to run shout all. So instead of shout all, just right at the beginning here, we're going to say shout all. I want it to run after 2 seconds, or at least after two seconds. Probably should do a video on set timeout. Okay. Third argument to set timeout is what arguments, if any, that I want it to call the shout all function with. And we've got one argument we're expecting, which is a group, and so I need to pass it exercises, right? So what we expect here is when we run it, we're going to probably, let's see, we're going to still see this first, and then after 2 seconds, we should see the same thing. And we didn't see, oh, okay, I think this is just like some kind of, I'm not sure why it like prints this up. Okay, but yes, 2 seconds, bench, squat, deadlift, there it is. Okay, so what you see here is like we're passing a callback to set timeout, and then set timeout when it calls shout all. It's passing a shout callback to this for each. So you can pass these around, and this can be really helpful because if you have logic that might be shared in different parts of the app, or kind of like mapping logic or anything like that, like anything that is could be used in a callback, you can write it once and just pass a reference. All right. Last example here would just be working. You'll see this a lot with API requests. So let's see. Let's fetch, and we'll fetch the API URL. Okay, and then we'll call a .then on that. So if you haven't seen this, then you might want to go watch a video on Fetch. I don't actually have one, so can't recommend my own channel, but you can go watch a video on Fetch. But the point is, this .then, we're working with promises here, but .then actually takes a callback. So you're going to typically see something like this, where you get like response or res, and then you get res.json or JSON, whatever. And then you're going to call .then again, and that's, this res.json is going to give you the JSON blob. So a lot of times you're going to see this data, or you're going to see something like that. Call it whatever you want. It's just an arrow function. And then in here, we're going to console.log the data. All right, and we hit run. Then now we've got this, and after 2 seconds, we still got our set timeout running. Okay, and these are just callback functions too, right? So you could theoretically, let's see, this is not an array. This is just a single object coming back. But I wonder if we just go to posts, do we get an array back? This is not in my notes, so we're just gonna go. Yeah, we do. Okay. Cool, and each of those has an object. So each item is an object, and we have a title, which is fairly long. But okay, let's just get weird with it. Okay, so we'll say this res JSON. This is fine. We're just going to leave that there, but we're going to rewrite this callback to shout the title of each of these, right? So let's say. Well, we already have a shout all actually, so we really just want to say, let's see, we're going to pass it a group. We just want to clean up the group before we pass the group to shout all. So I don't want to just pass this blob. I want to pass an array of titles, and maybe we'll just do like the first word of the title. Let's do something like that. So let's see. Ultimately, I just want to call shout all with something. So we're going to say we're going to call a function called shout titles. Okay, so that's going to be a callback, and we're going to go ahead and make that here. Shout titles equals it's going to receive some data, and we can call it whatever we want here. We can even say it's going to receive some posts, because that's actually what it's going to receive, right? All right, and we know that it's each, so this is an array, so we say const titles equals, let's see, post.map post, and we can grab the, we just want to return the title, post.title, and we really want to grab the, so we're going to split it on the space, and then we're going to grab the first index. So that should be the first word. And then we can go ahead and put this in a callback function, like, since that's what the video is. So const extract titles equals posts, and then we will call, let's see, actually we'll just say extract title, whatever. It takes a post. and it returns, well, yeah, come on. All right, and then, wait, what am I doing? Oh my gosh, wake up, dude. All right, extract title, takes a post, and then returns post.title.split. Yeah, cool. And then we can just pass this to extract title. Cool. And then we want to call shout all with titles, right? So let's make sure before we run it. So we got we're passing shout titles to this, which is going to receive the JSON blob, which we're just calling post. So this is the same like function signature, right? Like it's receiving an argument. We can call it whatever we want. We had it called data here, but we're just going to call it post because that's what it is. And then titles is going to be post.map, and we're going to pass it this, which should give us the first word of each title. And so this will be an array of first words of titles. And we could probably type title first words. This is terrible. Extract title first words. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to shout them all. So that's going to pass that array here, and then group is, oh my gosh. We're going to call this for each title word. We're going to call shout for it. That's another callback. So, I mean, I don't know how many layers deep of callbacks we are here, but we're going to hit run. And there we go. Now after 2 seconds, I still get my bench squat and deadlift. So hopefully that gives you a somewhat of a picture of what callback functions are, how you use them, and maybe even gives you some ideas of how you can like pass them around from thing to thing. From here, here we're actually sort of reusing this like shout all from the fetch, as well as just kind of up here in a set timeout. So you can kind of start to see that you can create these little single-use functions, and you can a lot of times pass them around into multiple use cases depending on what you got going on. But anyway, that's going to do it for today. If you have a question about this, let me know on Twitter, or actually I'm not really on Twitter right now. I'm kind of taking a break, but DM me, email me, comment below, whatever it is, and I'll see you next time.